No, this is horrible. Wait, why I cannot put you here? Go live. Let me see what I can do now.
Hi.
Yay, hi. I was able to do it. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
I'm fine too. Welcome to Story Lovers Official. And I was speaking here with people to talk that today we're gonna talk about the Romanovs and
Yeah.
basically their sisters because I really enjoy your Instagram that you put a lot of photos of them and I really like them. Personally, my favorite one is Maria, but I really enjoy all the photos also. So
Oh, thank you for your kind comments.
can you start talking a little bit about her account for the people here to learn a little bit what you do?
Oh, yeah, I decided to start my account about 1 year ago. Yeah, exactly 1 year ago on September of last year. And just because I was so interested in the Romanov family and in history, like, I liked history, but the Romanov was like my main theme, my favorite theme. So I started to my account just to share for pictures about what was my passion and just to share it and information. I made some biographies, but I just upload pictures. I don't actually say a lot about them because I don't have enough time still. Yeah,
Sure.
so my account is increasing a lot in the last months. So yeah, that's basically what I do.
Yeah, and you do a great job because you have really great photos there. I saw some photos and they are amazing. And yeah, I understand that of time because people don't know, but having account in Instagram gets you a lot of work. If you really want to make it going, it's a little bit difficult. Have to have time to that. So yeah, what makes you most like in Romanov story? Because for me, it's about their life, and unfortunately, the way it ended, because I think the girls didn't have basically they shouldn't die like that. I think so, in my opinion. What do you think about that? About their lives and what basically push you through the history of Romanov?
In fact, I have a really unpopular opinion. Like, I really think that the fact that they were murdered and that their lives ended that young, that's what actually attracts people. People like find them. They are like always so beautiful and so young and full of life. That's what death makes to them. Death makes people be always young, always beautiful. They never had the choice to actually grow up, actually have children, actually do something with their lives. And that's why I think people feel so attracted to them, because they're just perfect. They just there in the bar, in a bubble of time and their own time, their own um I don't know how they will be always the same. Like, no matter how much time it will pass, that they will always keep that young, and that's it. That's the beauty part of the death, I think.
Yes, I think so. I think also we had so many years we have the idea that Anastasia will be alive, but I
Yeah.
think that was finished when they found the other bones. And um, even the Disney movie talks a little bit about that part of the Anastasia Disney movie. I found the
Yeah.
Romanov in the some photos when I entered Instagram, and I felt that what happened to them. They were so beautiful, and when I start to learn about it, I want to learn more and more and more. And you really feel bad because, like you said, they were so full of life. They were starting their own life, yes. And in the moment, they lost everything, basically. And I
Yeah,
think they didn't have to die like that. I don't know. But I'm here. We are here to answer some questions about the Romanovs. I know that Olga is the oldest one, right?
yeah,
Then we have Tatiana,
yes.
Maria, and
Then
Anastasia.
Maria and Anastasia.
Yes. Uh, what you know about their personalities? Like, because I know they were very different between each other. They were very
Yeah,
different girls.
yeah, they were totally different, totally. Like Olga was the oldest one, and I think that their personalities was in fact a thing that came with age. The oldest one tend to be more rebel, tend to be more intelligent. I think that's clear. But looking at their personalities, Olga was basically the intelligent one, the one that because she was intelligent, she tended to always think different about everything that her parents said to her. Like she would be sometimes disobedient, like she misbehaved sometimes, and she was the rebel one. But she also was the most sensitive. She was very melancholic, like her mother, in fact. And I don't know. I love her. Like she's my favorite. She loved reading. She loved history. She loved philosophy. She was, I don't know, she was truly amazing. Like everything you read about Olga, in my case, I just can't love her because she's like a normal girl. I don't know, that's why she's my favorite. Then we have Tatiana. That Tatiana was the opposite of Olga. Olga was blonde with blue eyes, and Tatiana was dark brown hair and gray eyes. She was very beautiful, very very tall, like very elegant, and I think she was pretty intelligent too. But she wasn't as sensitive as Olga or as her mother. In fact, she was very charismatic. Everyone would say always good things about Tatiana. Tatiana loved to do things that were, like, she fit the role that the society of that time wanted in a woman. A practical woman, a woman that, in fact, she was very strong-willed. In fact,
Mhm.
but she was very very good. She will never never ever misbehave. She was very self-controlled, and her parents loved her, of course, and everyone loved Tatiana. But and she was just like that. She was like the truly older sister. Her sisters would always obey what Tatiana said. Olga sometimes could say some things to them, like don't misbehave, behave well. But Tatiana was like the dignity personified. And that's
The
basically
voice,
about Tatiana.
the voice of
What?
the reason, no? Like the voice of the reason. Like she was the one.
Yes, yes, yes. She was like in practical things. She was the older sister. Like she was very obedient, and that's it. Maria was the third, and she was like the most good. She was always so kind, so gentle. Like, and that's why she was. I think she was the less intelligent one. Like, and that's not bad. Like, you can be the less intelligent, but she was the most intelligent in what social when it comes to be
The social.
sociable. Yeah, she knew how to gain people. People just couldn't not love her because she was so good. She would never say something bad about anyone. She loved her family. Since she was very little, she was like 4 years old, and she said that she wanted to marry a soldier. She wanted to have a lot of children. And like her sister Olga, she was very romantic. Like they both were always falling in love with a lot of soldiers and men they meet, and she was very gentle, and that's why her little sister Anastasia took advantage of it. And even her older sisters always used Maria just to ask things to her parents. Like Maria was the one that would say, "Oh, Mama, don't you think that it would be good to buy Olga a new dress?" Or she said, "Wouldn't it be good to buy Tatiana something?" And actually, they were the sisters that were saying Maria to do that. Oh, there are people commenting here that yeah, I
Yeah,
don't think no. I've said that she was, in my opinion, she was less intelligent than her sisters in what is studies and that stuff. She was more like a social butterfly than a clever mind or something like that. In my
I,
opinion, it's just
yeah, I believe she was more interesting in give, and Logo was more interested in learning. Is the most
yeah.
what you want to say?
She
Yes,
she was she was more interesting in making friends, and
yes.
and she and Anastasia in fact were more sociable, like more funny, more they liked. Olga and Tatiana were like more formal. They had friends, but they knew how to choose them. And Maria and Anastasia were like, okay, everyone is our friend. Like literally everyone could be with them.
You can see
And
Maria. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but you can see Maria in many photos, holding babies. That's why she's my favorite because I think that she's so gentle in the photos
yeah,
because she's holding babies, she's with her cousins, and uh, I think she will be the one that smiled the most. Olga also, I think Olga also smiled in Anastasia. I think Tatiana had a more like voice of the reason, but I think the others one were more special. Maria, I really feel that she was more gentle, and when you
yeah.
said, I understood that it's not about intelligence, but it's about she was more interested in another things that Olga was interested in learning, studying, and everything.
Yeah, that's just my point, and it's just my opinion from what I've read. Like I've read several books, and it's just what I think. I'm not saying that she's not intelligent. She's obviously the four sisters had a very good education. Like they knew a lot of things. Marie, in fact, liked to read a lot,
And paint,
but
and also
what?
paint, also paint. I think
Yeah,
that Maria.
painting. She loved painting. She and Anastasia were always painting. That was something that the four of the sisters enjoyed a lot, and even Tatiana painted very well from what I've seen. But Maria, it's not that she painted better than her sister.
Mhm.
It's just she always chose painting and liked it. Before any other subject that she was learning, she just preferred it. And she liked to show her artistical art, and I think that had she grown up she would have been a great artist like no, her aunt Olga
Oh yeah,
Alexandrovna.
yeah,
She also did a lot, and that's basically Maria, like the gentle one, the one that would be amiable to everyone, and everyone loved her. And then we have Anastasia, that was the littlest and the worst. You know, she was like when she was grown up, she was very childish. But when she was a child, she was like a tiny monster. Like there's most of her cousins even say that she was pretty mean. And I love her, but I gotta recognize that she could be sometimes very, very mean. Like she would, hit her cousins when playing. She will pull their hairs. She would sometimes even beat them, bite them, like. And yeah, and she received a lot of punishment because of that, of course. But she was less well behaved than her sisters, more playful, more like a boy. Sometimes it could be said, like she preferred playing with Alexei. But when she was growing up, she tended to be more she had a better relationship with her sisters, Maria, and she also used her just to, Anastasia was always playing pranks on people, and she also involved Maria in them, and Maria sometimes gained a punishment too.
Yeah.
So, and when she grew up, she was said to be like when she was all grown up in 1917, 1918. Yurovsky, who was one of the killers, said in his diary that Anastasia was the prettiest one, that she had rose cheeks, and she had a beautiful hair, and actually Anastasia was never said to be the prettiest one. She was
Oh.
always, but in that time Yurovsky said that, and that's maybe just his opinion, but she grew up to be a very beautiful woman in my opinion.
Yeah, I think also that I learned about it, or I read in some places that Anastasia once in a palace, I think a hunt really slapped her because she said something that she shouldn't, and our a maid no, but I think it was a hunt that she really, and unpopular opinion, I think Anastasia is very misunderstood. Yes, a little bit, I think so, but also she was a troublemaker, and that's not bad. But in the reality, I think that was not very good seeing. I think so.
Yeah, I think that Anastasia was, the little sister, and she just wanted. Little sisters and brothers always tend to be like more playful and that stuff, just to gain attention, and that's what she did, and in fact she gains a lot of attention because everyone always would have an eye on Anastasia, because she would climb a tree and she would pull Maria's hair. In fact, Anastasia was pretty aggressive with Maria, even during World War I. um, they were teenagers. Like Anastasia was 14, 15, and Maria was 16, 17. And Anastasia still pulled her hair. She would scream at Maria. She was very jealous, I think. One of her cousins, that's called Nina. Nina said that her cousin Anastasia was very jealous of her because Nina was younger and was taller than Anastasia. Because Anastasia was very, very short, like her father, and she would always envy her cousin for that. And but she in fact we gotta recognize she was a very funny girl. She was very very extroverted. She liked meeting people like Maria. She liked to learn a lot of things about battles and that stuff. When she was 12, I think, I read that she went on a boat, I think. Yes, a boat, and they were like giving the sisters a tour in the boat, and she asked the man to. He had a rifle, I think,
Okay.
and she asked the man to actually give a shot to the air. They say, just to see it, please do it. So yeah, she actually she wanted the people to do what she wanted, and I don't know. That's what I think about
So
Anastasia.
I think she was a little bit misunderstood because she was something that no woman from royalty should do, enjoying boy things like she did, like going up a tree. In that time was really not a good thing for granddad to do it. I think so. So that's why the misunderstanding thing. And I believe that all of them were very different from each other, but in the end, I think they all love each other very much.
Yeah.
And also, they had to be patient with their mother. But I think, because I think Alex had many sickness, right? Along
Yeah,
the.
Alex. It is said that Alex was also an hypochondriac. Is it
Okay,
said?
okay. Yes, yes.
Yeah, and I'm not sure about it. Like, I know that she had a lot of back problems, and in her legs too. Anastasia also had back problems like her mother, and Alex was always like, I don't know how to say this. Like, I got like different feelings about Alex. Like, from one side, I love her because she suffered a lot. She loved a lot all of her children. But in the other hand,
Yeah, I think
sometimes,
in some photos, I think she was a little bit depressed. That
yeah, maybe,
Yeah, in some photos, I think so, because she suffered many, I'd say, many uh, bad things from Russia. The Russian people didn't accept her, and and also because she couldn't give a birth a boy, just girls.
yeah,
And I think,
it
like
was a
you
lot of
said,
pressure.
yes, she felt a lot of pressure, and I think she fall in a depression, and that's why I think that I saw so many photos of her, and she's so sad. That,
Yeah,
and I think the girls are really the opposites of their mother in that, no, they are a little bit. I think when they start growing up, they start to understand what's happening. But it's really funny to see some footage that is coming now, like when they are playing in the boat. I don't know if you saw the video. They are in the boat running, small one. That's really fun to see it. And also I love to read their diaries and read how they truly love all the family, their fathers, and that's really amazing how they,
yeah,
even with the problems they had, because it was really a difficult moment for them. And you talk about Maria and Olga being in love, right, soldiers.
yeah.
I believe I read something when they were nurses in the, was there that they fall
Yeah,
in love.
Maria was not an nurse, but she also fell in love with the soldiers that her sisters were taking care of, and Olga and Tatiana also fell in love. Even Anastasia had like a crush. He was a brother of he was brother of a nurse, but I don't know a lot about him. He was called like he was. I think he was the brother of a girl named Vera, but
Mhm.
I'm not sure about it. Like, I don't remember it actually, but I know Anastasia had a little crush. That's all.
And how was the girls with their brother? They were like family also. Do you think they received them well?
Yeah, they loved him. They what was the question? Like, if they were close to him?
Yes, yes, yes. Because also you
Okay,
were
they
sick also, right? You also had a sickness.
yeah. Alexei was an hemophiliac. Like his blood would never stop bleeding, and if he had a cut or something like that, he would be immediately bleeding a lot. He would lose a lot of blood. He almost died several times. Like, it was even a miracle that he was still alive. But he wasn't. He survived until his death, and his sisters suffered a lot with him. Imagine having a little brother that everyone loves so much, a brother that, Alexei was just like any other child. Like, he was obviously not as good as his sister Maria. He was playful, like just like any other boy of his age. He was playful. He liked to climb. He would like to run after Anastasia, and that's just how he wanted to live. But he also had a terrible sickness, and that made him being always in bed. He also was very sad when he was growing up. He realized that he would never be like any other boy of his age, that maybe he could even be the heir of Russia, the next Tsar, and that made him sad. He was like his sister. He wanted to be a normal child, like his sisters. They four even wanted to have a normal life, and were always very like interested in normal life, like going to see your friends at school, something like that. And I don't know, that's my feelings on Alexei, and his sisters loved them. Olga and Tatiana, when Alexei was more little, tending to be like they knew how to act with him. Even once, it is said that Alexei run after his father after Olga and Tatiana they hit him, like they
Okay,
slapped.
slapping.
Yeah, and the Tsar was reunited, like in a reunion with
Okay.
one of his ministers. And Alexei entered the room saying "Papa, Papa, Papa," and Nicholas said to him that he was. He said, "Now I'm not your Papa. Now now I am being the Tsar.
Okay.
Now I'm
Okay.
not being your Papa. Now I'm the Tsar. Please leave the room, and then we can talk about it." And then Alexei left the room, and once the Tsar finished his reunion, he came out and talked to Alexei, and Alexei told him that Olga and Tatiana had slapped him. And that's a curious anecdote.
Yeah, but I think that like we don't have an idea how there it is because for me, I don't know the middle of the reality how it works. But for a child to hear that must be a little bit traumatizing. But also, I know that when they start to be a prisoner, um, they didn't. I don't know. I don't know if it was just because of the photographs that we saw it, but I don't think they really knew that their lives will be ended like that. I don't think so.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure about it. Like, there are people that say that the royal family knew perfectly what was gonna happen, and that's why they were like very calm during their last days. Even though, because there's a lot of misunderstandings here, because a lot of people think that the communists that the communist soldiers that were watching them, like when they were under house arrested,
Hmm.
um they said that they were kind to them, and that's not true. They were brutally um bad people to them. Like they would always be drunk and always like saying terrible things to the girls. Olga was in a great depression. Maria and Anastasia were just being, trying to be positive from every single, it was like, I don't know, I would say that it's just a very, just a terrible, it was more terrible their last days than their death. In fact, their death was very bad. You can't even think about how much they suffered. But their last days were terrible. They were exhausted. They didn't want to live anymore because they didn't see the point of keeping live the way they
Why?
were being treated. And they were childs. Like Alexei was just 13, and he was constantly being insulted by the communist words. And the girls would have to bathe herself. Like when they were in the shower, they had to keep their doors open. And even when they went to sleep, they had to make sure that they were visible. The guards were always drunk, always trying to insult them. They said terrible things to the girls. Like it was even, how to say this? They were being just, I don't know. It was just an aggressive situation. Like that's what I think. I can explain. I'm searching for a word in English, but I can think about it.
I believe that was a terror situation when they were in that moment when they knew they were about. I don't know, when they knew that, okay, we don't have an end here, we're not gonna come back to our house, we're gonna die here. So let's just leave. I think they basically felt in the last days that they didn't have a choice or hope. I don't know. Um,
I don't think they have any hope for those days.
and I think that they really knew that something was happening because they had jewelry in their clothes. when they die. They have like
Yeah,
children.
but that was I think that was actually because they thought like, okay, if we escape, we have the communists will take their jewelry and that stuff off every time that they made they super
They will
they
took all
they
the
inspected, yeah, they inspected the house sometimes, and they would steal things from the Grand Duchesses. I think they also steal one of the diaries of the Grand Duchesses, but I'm not sure. And Olga, and well, not Olga, in fact, it was Alexandra who told Olga and Tatiana to there's one time, the family when was put on under house arrested, um, they were in Sarcoyekelo,
okay.
and there they took them to Tobolsk. In Tobolsk, they made a normal life. They were happy because the communist words were pretty, there were some that were not sympathetic and were very aggressive, and there were others that treat the family correctly. From Tobolsk, they took the Empress, they took Nicholas, and they took Alexei and Maria. No, Alexei, no. It was the Empress, Nicholas, and Maria, and went to Yekaterinburg. And Olga, Tatiana, Anastasia, and Alexei stayed in Tobolsk alone. And I think there was the time that Olga had suffered the Great Depression. We don't really know what happened to the girl. 4 girls alone in 3 girls alone in a house without their parents, with communist words that hate them. Like they literally hate the girls. They then it was when it started. The conditions got worse. The girls were told to get naked in front of them. The guards would always be drunk, and 3 girls, no protection, with people that hate them, without her parents to protect them, with a brother that was very ill. They suffered a lot, and once they get together again in Yekaterinburg, they were very happy to see them. But I think that terrible things would happen. We will never know what happened when the girls were left alone. But I think that will have been terrible.
Now, you have a question for you. Olga is the oldest, right? How old was she?
Yeah, Olga was the oldest one. She was born in 1895, and she died when she was 22 years old.
Yeah. And I read the supposedly document where a soldier saw their death, how they died, and he wrote that after some years, and was pretty brutal. They say that they took them to a room and then they shot them, and Olga was holding their dog, right? The dog.
Yeah, there are a lot of versions, but I have one that's the one that I believe. But there are a lot of versions from all the soldiers, and I have one that I think it's the one that Yurovsky wrote, and then he changed some things just to not to make sure that the Russian people, if they found out, they would think that it wasn't as terrible as he told once. But I believe in one of the versions of the story, and it's maybe the worst one because it explains a lot of things. The other versions may not explain other things that you could see in the crime scene. In the red room, you would enter there, and you see some things like the shots in the back of the room. Even in those shots, even in the floor, like it was terrible. But there's one version. I don't know if I can talk about it because I don't know if people want to hear that. But it's the worst one, basically.
Yeah, you can talk a little bit about it, but in a light way. I know that was they were called to a room, and then I think was there a fight, right? They start to say that they will be died in that day,
Yeah,
and some of them were not dead. Some girls were not dead with the first
yeah,
shot, and even so, they were there and they killed them like that.
yeah.
They
They
wanted
were
them.
they were there were some weapons like they used rifles and bayonets, and they
Yes,
were yeah, it's basically a rifle with a bayonet in the back. That's the main thing they used, but they also use some mm, revolver. ¿Cómo se dice? I don't know how to say this. Like pistols. Like
yes, one pistol, yes, like a
yeah,
gun,
they used
normal gun.
pistols, rifles, and bayonets, and they started saying to the Tsar that he was gonna be killed. Basically, the girls started to cry, and they began shooting. And at first, they thought that they have killed them all, but the room got very, it was very blurry. They didn't see well what was happening, so they stopped shooting. The martyrs went out of the room, and once they entered in again, they found out that Nicholas was dead, Alexandra was dead, and one of the servants was dead. The rest were all alive. The girls, Maria had one shot in her leg, and the others were perfectly fine, or with some shots, but the shots, they had jewelry around their around their bottom, so their top. I don't know how to say this. Like their belly. They
Yes,
had jewelry, and it was like that
like
protected them.
a
To the
body
Christmas.
guard, like let's say like this,
Yeah,
like a
nobody
body.
can see. Yeah. So basically, they came in and they began. They decided not to shoot again because they were like neighbors there and they were starting hearing things. So they started to finish them off with bayonets, and so it was terrible. Like they take first Tatiana. Tatiana was standing like this, protecting her sisters. They took her. Um, they how to say this
They just
um
they
yeah,
basically they
yeah,
said okay, they kill them with the
with the bayonet they started like trying to I have a word, but I don't remember it.
push
um
push it the bayonet in their body, basically, right?
yeah. Basically they just used the bayonets. They couldn't, so they finished her off, giving her a shot in the head. Then the same happened with Olga, and they did the same with Maria, and then with Anastasia. But Maria and Anastasia didn't die. Like they gave them a shot in the head, and I don't know why they still were alive when they were taking out the bodies. Maria and Anastasia started to cry, and they had to finish them off. And I don't know why they did that, but instead of giving them a shot again, they hit their heads until they were shot. Like they stopped saying anything, like until they
I
were dead.
I read that, and when you're talking about that, really breaks my heart because you can feel the suffer of them when you
Yeah,
read it.
it's very very like I never read their deaths like until I thought that I was ready for that because I was sure that it was never as easy as history books say that they were shot and that's all. It's not like that. Most of them didn't die by a shot. Maria didn't die by a shot. Anastasia didn't die by a shot. They were finished off with hits. Like it was terrible, terrible, a terrible death, in my opinion.
Yes, it was terrible. I also know that some of the things that are around is that also some of the girls when they were still alive they were raped by the guys. also. Yeah, that's also horrible because they are dying in
Yeah,
this
you
injection.
know, that will never, like, there are reasonable reasons to think that, because when they were left alone, it for me it's pretty clear they had to suffer some kind of abuse, because the guards were always very drunk. They were very disrespectful to the
Yeah,
family. They would say terrible things to girls that have nothing to do with her parents' decisions. Like, they were just the children of them. They were born because of the love that Nicholas had for Alexandra. For political reasons, it's just insane to do that to a boy. Even if Nicholas was as bad as the communists said, I think that, there's no point. There's no evidence to justify the brutal treat they gave to the children. Like, they were childs and they were teens, and it had no point.
we have one girl that has it was done by the night by the military members.
Yeah, yeah. They're saying that died by gunfire. That's one of the versions. Like, sometimes they say that that was Tatiana who died by gunfires. Some others say that it was Olga or Maria. I think they all survived, because then we have, it has no point that someone lies about Maria having a shot in the leg.
Hmm.
Like, I believe that because. It was said that one of the girls received a shot in the legs, and she was bleeding a lot, and I think that one was Maria. And there they say that, I know I just say that Olga and Tatiana died by being shot, not the rest of them. I don't think so. I think they all survived, but there are several versions, and we will never know the truth.
Yes,
Tatiana,
100% will never know the truth.
yeah, they shot Tatiana's head. They shot Tatiana in the back of the head and Olga in the jaw. Yeah, that's true.
Must be really difficult for them, but in other side, when that's over, I believe the girl has peace, because that was many years in that situation, knowing. I don't know if the other girls will know that, but I feel that Olga knew that. And Olga, I must
I
think,
feel it too.
see, I must think that Olga probably was the one that, like you said, more depression, because she knew what was happening, and Tatiana
Yeah.
also. And I don't know if the others knew really what was happening in that situation, but I know that you can see in the eyes of Olga in the last days that she knew that something was happening and something was ending. And I also read um, many many versions, and really you feel like really angry with that because the girl didn't have anything about it. They didn't have to die. Alex didn't have to die also. The boy. I think it's something that really.
I even think that either Nicholas and Alexandra, I don't think they deserve to die. Like, if what communists say that is that they needed them death, because they will later, when they were grown up, claim their rights to the throne. But actually, if they knew, it was the Tsarist regime, and then it was the communist regime that led Russia to the Soviet Union. And if it was as good as they said, why would people even think about having again the Tsarians? Like, it has no point. If their political thinkings are so good, why would be they afraid of having a princess saying that she wants to be the heir? People would never listen to her. And what happened was that the government was so bad that then the Russian people started to think again about but when we had the Tsarist regime, it wasn't maybe as bad as we are now. And that's why later Stalin said that, like, it was like forbid to talk about Anastasia or any other Romanov members. Like the Romanov, it was forbid to talk about them. It was forbidden to
Yeah,
talk about them.
because then the bodies were destroyed, let's say like this, cannot go further how they were destroyed because it's very strong. And they particularly separated the bodies. They put a body there, another there, right? To confuse the
Yeah, just
people.
to make confusion. It's very sad, the family, they when they first found the bodies, Maria and Alexei's body were missing, and it's very sad, to have kids, separate from their family, and but fortunately they finally were found, and I think that the Orthodox Church
Yes, yes.
from Russia has accepted them. I'm not sure about the news because I don't know a lot of Russian politics and that things. But I think that later, I don't know. I read something about the Orthodox Church accepting Alexei and Maria's bodies as the real ones, and I don't know if they are now with their families in St. Petersburg. I'm not sure.
I know that they are sent in Russia and Russia. Then they are sent now. And also I saw, basically I saw a video where they did the funeral that they deserve, and they put the bodies together and they are together again. So I think that's really great. And I saw that comment saying the um, revenge for the Romanovs. I don't know if you saw. It's
It's
not revenge.
coming.
It's not revenge that we want. We just
Yeah,
want to.
I read a communist one once. Communist sent me a message saying that my page was like that the page about the Romanovs was supporting the Tsarist regime. I don't support it, of course. Like I don't like communists, but I don't also like Tsarist. I think you don't have to be supporting one for not liking one. Yeah,
I think so. Yeah, I think so. Also, that we are doing here is talking about the life of some people that died that didn't have to die, and also to remember to not happen again. I think that's what
yeah.
history does. Is let's remember these people.
Even if they deserve, like I'm just sharing their pictures, I'm not doing anything bad, and they were girls, and I gotta say it, they were girls that did more good to the society than bad. Tatiana did a committee, and it was called Committee Tatiana in World War I, and it was very important. Like it was not she didn't do her committee with the help of her family. He did it by her own. Like she was the director, and she maintained reunions with all the members of her committee. She received a lot of help of other countries just for Russian people that have lost things from the war, because it was a terrible war. A lot of Russians died, and she helped a lot. Even though that some countries support Tatiana committee, because it was just to gain the confidence of the Princess Tatiana, just in case they have to, the prince of that countries wanted to marry Tatiana, but for there were some princes that wanted to marry Tatiana, so they tried to gain her confidence by helping her in that
Okay.
committee. So it was something good.
Yeah.
And I have a comment that says that in perspective, I think communist was worse than the Tsarist regime. I think they both were bad, in my opinion, and I don't think you have.
I believe also
During the
what.
Tsarist regime, a lot of people died too.
Yeah.
So
I believe that was because as I learned in the school, what teaches was that the Nicholas was really a bad guy that made the how to say the bloody Sunday. I think it was like that.
see, he
Yeah.
was, yeah, the red Saris, the red Tsar. He was called
Yes.
the red Tsar, and the Bloody
And
Sunday.
yes, the bloody Sunday. And I grow up without knowing that he had the girls. I just knew that was a bad guy. When I entered in history in the university, I started to study, and I came to a paper that said that he wasn't the one that gave uh, the order to kill that people because he wasn't in the palace. He was out of the palace. He wasn't the one that gave the order, let's kill them.
Yeah, but that's because he was a very weak ruler, and he just followed what the people told him, like his ministers. He was like a ragdoll to them. Like they Nicholas would do wherever they said. Like his own uncles told him do this and do the other, and it was his fault for being a weak leader. Like he had to make choices, and he was just caring about. That's very beautiful to care about your family, but you have your position as the Tsar, and if you don't like it, you just have to renounce the throne and give it to your brother or something like that. You can't be a weak leader to Russia. It has no point. I think he didn't have fault in the bloody Sunday, but he was a weak leader, and he wasn't like. He needed to know what was gonna be happening. Like he knew it. He didn't make the choice to do that, but he let that happen, and that made him a weak ruler. And I don't think that's even worse than making that choice.
Yes, because he wasn't the one that said, "Okay, no, let's not. That's wrong. We cannot do this." And he just basically did what he was just living his life. And I think he wasn't supposed to be just Caesar. He had the older brother, or he was only always prepared to be the next Caesar, Nicholas. I don't know if he had an older brother that died.
Olga brother?
Yes, or Nicholas.
Yeah, Nicholas had a sister, Olga.
Okay, but he have an older brother or just
no?
older?
Nicholas was the older of his siblings, and then you had there was Nicholas. Then it was Michael. No, Michael. No, there was one before Michael. He was called.
I know that one died very young. No,
Yeah,
I have that idea. Yeah. I think so. And I also know that one of the brothers was killed because after the Romanovs were killed, also the sister or Alex also was killed.
Yeah, see, the sister of Alex, a lot of cousins of Olga of the imperial children were also killed. It was called the assassination in Alapayesk, and there they kidnap them, and then they throw them into a, how do you say this, like a hole?
A hole, yes.
Yeah, and there a hole with water. How do you say this? Like it is called in Spanish. We call it pozo, but I'm not sure how you say this. I'm gonna say it.
Yes, say it because you guys don't know, but I'm Portuguese. You know my first language, and it's Spanish.
So we have a lot of issue with language.
Yeah.
Okay, it's called water well. A water well.
Okay.
So yeah, they threw them inside there, and then they throw some mines, and they explode. And it said that they killed them, but in fact they were still alive. And Alex's sister Ella was heard shouting the next days until she finally died from starvation, I think. So yeah, it was a terrible death.
Wow,
Then
that really
the White Army take the bodies months later, and Ella is actually is in Israel, like in Jerusalem.
Mm-hmm.
And she's buried there, and the others are in St. Petersburg, I think. And one of them was the match for Olga. In my opinion, was the one that was the best to marry Olga, because Olga wanted to stay in Russia, and he was a cousin that was 1 year older than her and had a lot of things in common. And even in 1916, 1917, they were seen together. Like he will go to see the family several times, and I think they have a marriage on thinking. Like he was
Mm-hmm.
always with Olga. There are a lot of pictures of them both. He was called Igor Konstantinovich. His father is very famous because his father was in fact gay, and he
Okay.
had a lot of children. Yes, Constantine. And Igor was a very pretty boy, and I think Olga and him would have married had they lived, but he was killed a day after Olga. Like they died in on the same days.
Yeah.
Uh,
That's
Here people are saying this. Blood Sunday just a provocation. I don't know. Alexander died, I think. Alexander, who is
the,
Alexander
the the brother of Nicholas.
of Nicholas. I think his brother was Michael and Nicholas II. I'm gonna search it because I don't remember it actually. His brother was. I'm gonna see it.
I think that he has a brother that died.
Yeah,
I
he
don't
had two
know.
brothers. He had two brothers. One was called George, and one was called Michael. He had a little brother that died when he was a baby. That was called Alexander.
Yeah.
Alexander with his like his father. But then he had George, and George died when he was very young because he had a lot of problems, like health problems. And then Michael was also killed by the communists.
Yes, with
You
Ella, right? I think
also need to
so.
remember that Nicholas wasn't prepared to be the Tsar when he became one. He wasn't finished with his education. I'm not saying that he didn't had his flaws thoughts. Yeah, but his father Alexander III also hadn't finished his education, and he didn't did pretty well, but he did better than his son. Alexander II is my favorite Tsar. Like he did a lot of changes in Russia. He increased the liberty of the country. He was great, but he was also killed by not communists, but revolutionaries from that time.
Yeah, I think so that he wasn't. I don't know. I think Cesar didn't want to be in their life, but as he said, he could give the turn to another one, and not
Yeah.
be in that situation. Because I think Michael after was about to go to the throne, but then
Yeah,
he was kidnapping and they killed him. And
yeah.
that
Him and his servant.
just how many Romanovs are alive today? They must be from
There
that
are
line.
a lot. In fact, like we have Olga Alexandrovna had two sons, and they both had children. And I love Olga Alexandrovna. Like she did a lot of good to Russian people. When the Soviet Union was there, Stalin tried to kill her, tried to send people to kill her because they hate the fact that Olga was alive, and she was helping Russian people to get out of the Soviet Union, to get out of Russia, to give them money to start working in the European side, and like it was like very Stalin felt very disrespected because there was still a Romanov that the Russian people were starting to look after, like, oh, she's a Romanov and she's helping Russians to get out of this,
Yes.
like, and Stalin hated her. She had to move out of her country several times. She moved to Denmark, then she went to England, then she had to go to Canada. And in Canada, she was like very, like no one knew where was she. Some people started to say that Olga Alexandrovna was dead, but finally she showed herself in Canada, and she was there, and she lived a happy life after all.
And also she was the one that said she didn't believe that that woman was Anastasia. Remember that woman that was doing herself saying she was Anastasia because they never found the body. When she met her, she said, "No,
Yeah.
that's not my niece," because first the expressions are not the same, and she doesn't know anything about our life basically. And
I understand what you're talking about. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Anna Anderson, I think it was pretty clear that she wasn't Anastasia. Like, I don't see her
Yes,
their resemblance at all. Like Anna Anderson, I'm not saying that Anna was in fact a pretty woman, but she looks nothing like Anastasia. Like Anastasia had a more elongated face. She had like different hair. Even Anastasia's forehead was bigger than Anna's one. Her nose were different. Anastasia's lips were very fine, and um, and Anna had big lips. So they were very different. I don't know why people say that they shared that resemblance. Maybe they share some kind of resemblance, but I don't see it at all.
yeah, and Olga was the first one to say, no, that's not my niece, so
Yeah,
no one gonna.
Olga defended that, and imagine having all your nieces. She loved her nieces. They killed them all, and then you have a woman that's crazy,
Yeah,
saying that she's Anastasia. Pues, uh, so Olga said, basically that she understood that she was a ill woman. She was crazy, and but she said that they needed to treat her with respect. Like they must be respectful for her because Anna Anderson was not a bad person. She was just crazy. She had mental problems, and people took advantage of it and just make her believe in things that were not real. And they just played her game. And Olga felt bad for her because she was saying that Anna Anderson was in fact just people were using her, like, and she was just an ill woman. She was sick, and that's all.
yeah, I believe so. A conclusion about this, I think, is that the Romanov sisters were very talented in their own way, and I think that was really sad that we couldn't see more of them, and really make, makes me angry. I feel like um, sad how that happened because they didn't deserve them. No, none of them deserve what they did, what they had in the end. So it's a sad thing, but I think it is a good conversation for us to remember ourselves that this happened. This is not a story. This happened. Let's try not to do that again. Because that were young people and people that died in a horrible way, really horrible way.
Mm.
Yeah. I don't know if you want to conclude something.
And there are some comments here. Anna Anderson also willingly manipulated her pictures to look more like Anastasia because she knew she didn't look like her. I didn't knew this. For example, she hit her chin. Yes, I compare her profile to Anastasia's, and she had like a very visible chin, and Anastasia had like no chin. She had a very elongated face, Anastasia, and Anna Anderson was more like a square face, and I don't see their resemblance like at all. Like I don't know why people still says that they are the same person because visibly they are not. And I don't know what else could I say. Like maybe just follow my page if they want to. Like I'm if I finish my exams because I got a lot of exams now. I'm 18 and I just entered the university, and so I have a lot of exams these weeks. But once I finish them, I will try to make a biography of each of them. Like I'm going to make them very short, but enough for people to know them and to know some things about their lives. I'm not sure about it, about how am I gonna do it, but I'm definitely gonna do it. So
Yeah,
if they want to,
yes, I think all of you should follow it because it has really great pictures there and great story about the Romanovs. And I think that all of us should know a little bit about history and should love a little bit about history and even the bad things because uh, some parts of this conversation were really good, but others, like when we are talking the way they died, I feel like my heart goes without
yeah,
all.
that was very hard, and I don't even know how to express my feelings about it because it's
So, but
it's a dark moment.
yeah, if someone like reads a little bit of Romanovs and then goes to see how they died, you're gonna be really shocked. The first time I read it, I cried because I felt their pain.
I also cried. I never read anything, and I said, okay, I think I'm ready to read this. And I started reading, and it was like I couldn't imagine that. I thought that they were just shot, and that's all. So
Yeah,
I cried a lot too.
because unfortunately, our the history doesn't tell us how the things were in school.
Yeah,
I just knew that I didn't knew that Nicholas had children. I didn't knew that. I knew that he was killed. And the thing that they do to the people is that the thing that is good. The bad was killed. And then when we start growing up and start to learn a little bit, is okay, why they did that? It's not necessary. Okay. So yeah, that's why accounts like yours is very important because we need to know the past and we need to know more about it, not just what people want to show us. You have to make
yeah,
a decision for yourself. And you have your
absolutely.
yeah, you have here some questions for you before we finish. You
Yeah,
have
they're saying where are you from? I'm from Spain. I'm studying biology. I know it doesn't have a lot of with with history and that stuff, but I also love biology and that kind of things. I think he's Spanish because he says before, ¿cómo se dice? ¿Cómo se dice? Yes, soy español, soy de Sevilla.
okay, Sevilla. Yo tuve, I was many months in Spain last year because I work in Mercadona, Portugal. So I know,
Oh,
yeah, at weekends I work in Mercadona, doing a part time. So I was doing my formation
in
there
Spain.
in Spain
Oh, that's great.
in Madrid, Parla, I think like that. Madrid, it's like 30 minutes from Madrid. And I had there a friend that was from Sevilla, and she spoke very quickly. You guys have a Spanish that is very quickly, and we are Portuguese, but I know how to speak a little bit Spanish. And when I was speaking with her, she started, and I'm like, no, Maria,
Very
Portuguese.
quickly. Yeah, we also have a very known accent. Like it's a very quickly accent, and we also like we don't say the s's and that stuff. So
Yeah, yeah.
it's very difficult to understand. I know that Spanish people have more difficult to understand Portuguese people than Portuguese people normally understand us very well. Like I went to Portugal several times and they always know what you're saying. Like they understand you and we don't understand anything.
Yes, like that. That's why it was so easy for us when the Portuguese go. We still have people going from Mercadona, Portugal to Mercadona, Spain to basically learn. Mercadona is a supermarket from Spain and now it's open in Portugal. So we have many Portuguese in Spain doing the promotion. It's not like that.
Yeah.
And I was really well received. We all were well received in Spain, and I went to Spain some years and never to Madrid, never to that places around Spain, and we were really well received there, and that's really great. And we here in Portugal, many people, Mercadona is new here in Portugal, but we have many people ask us if you still speak Spanish because between each other, because many of us were many years there in Spain doing the promotion.
Yeah.
Sometimes between each other we speak Spanish, and people are like, "Oh, yeah, are you Spanish?" In Portugal, no, we're not Spanish. We just speak it because I don't know. We
Yeah. So there are here people. What are you saying? Nice, good luck. Thank you so much, Mayenka. And we have, yo decir, tengo aquí una de España. También quiere estudiar biología. Pues si te animas, estudiarlo. Pero si puedes estudiar algo mejor. I just said her that if she wants to study something better, because biology is like, here in Spain, we don't have a lot of things to work in biology. I wanted to study biochemistry, and it wasn't possible. So I finished studying biology. We neighbors. I'm from Morocco. Oh, if you want to visit, say us.
From Morocco.
And Valencia. I'm from Morocco. Mercadona is a company from Valencia. No sabía que era de Valencia.
Sí, sí, es de Valencia. Es from Hoy. Juan Hoy, sí, es así. Juan Hoy.
No me sé, ni siquiera lo sabía.
Sorry, you are speaking Spanish a little bit. So thank you so much for being here. Please go
Thank
follow
you.
his Instagram. I will put this live in my page, and if you want, I will send to you for you to put in yours. And
Okay.
let's continue what you are doing about the Romanov. That I think that's a way also to give them peace and also to honor them from their fame and what they did from goodness. So that's really a great job you are doing. So congratulations.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Okay, goodbye.
Bye. Thank you.